Slave River, things of that nature. And I really did not expect to have such a profound experience in
Mm-hmm.
those spaces. One that was like overwhelming. It was joyous. It was, just being able to see where my ancestors traverse through, and then of
Mm-hmm.
course all the horrors with that as well.
Absolutely.
But to read about it is one thing, but to get there and see it up close and personal is like mind blowing,
Mind blowing.
seriously.
Yeah.
And also emotionally, it can be a lot to unpack. So, like I said, prior to arriving, I had all these thoughts of like things I was going to experience and do. But once I arrived, it was such a transformation that was so
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming that even when I came back to America, for the first 2 weeks, I was just like really still trying to process like everything. So in writing the guidebook, I wanted to primarily write for, of course, the children of the diaspora, like all the Africans who were scattered about, from the Americas, the Caribbean, South
Mm-hmm.
America,
All over.
basically all of us, saying that, hey, if you can, you definitely need to go back home at least
Mm-hmm.
once in your life. And then, secondly, just to explain and share the emotions and things well, number one, what it's like in those places, but
Mm-hmm.
number two, the emotions you may experience that you may not have expected, and how to unpack and how to prepare. And also, of course, the logistics of getting your visa,
Yeah.
quickly, and the vaccines that you need. So it's like an all encompassing kind of book, but it's not
Yep.
your traditional travel guide. So that's the gist of it.
Well, I love that. So wait, let's just take a step back real quick in the spirit of, headline heroes and just making sure that we are positioning this call correctly. Let's talk about your first book. So was that anything close to what this book is about?
No. So my first book, actually, I have it right here. This is the author's copy, but it's called
Hmm.
I Heard
I
God's
hear
Voice.
God's voice. And was that
So
self-published?
it was. hmm So I Heard God's Voice. Now that was based on my near-death experience that I had
Right.
when I was 18 years old. I
Hmm.
literally flatlined, died, was resuscitated back to life. It was extremely traumatic. And at that time, like although I was born and raised in the church, around that period in my life, I was kind of rebelling a little bit, questioning, God's essence, presence. And
Uh-huh.
I'm from Detroit, Michigan originally, and I grew up in the city of Detroit. So around that time, it's a violent city. I love my city, but and around that period, we're talking about the YBI, like coming out of BMF, all this stuff. It was a lot going
Yeah.
on in the city. And I had a lot of friends in that life, and I had friends get murdered. So around that time, I was just like, there's no God. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of going to church. Like, why is all of these things happening to, a lot of people I know? Even though I even grew up like in a pretty decent neighborhood, but Detroit is pocketed. So even if
Yeah.
you grow up in a good neighborhood, you go 2 blocks away and it's like, seedy things breaking out. So
Have you heard of a
I,
place called New York City? It'll be one block where it's like all of these $1 million homes, and 2 blocks over, you're like, what just happened
what
here?
happened? So
Yeah,
Detroit's kind of the same way.
segmented.
So I had like a balance of like, the family life, but then also street life, so to speak.
Yep,
My friend, I was a teenager
yep.
getting into things I shouldn't have been getting into.
Hmm.
So I said, I just pretty much wrote it off like there's no God. I'm tired of this. Tired of going to church. I'm tired of all of this. And so at this period in my life, there were some things that happened. I was preparing to go to college at Clark Atlanta University.
Nice.
Um, and just to kind of get away, get a fresh start. I always did well in school. So kind of just see things outside of Detroit. And I carried with me at this time a secret that literally only my sister knew, like leaving Detroit. My mom's family, no one knew. So I get to Atlanta, get to college. I'm on the campus of Clark Atlanta University one week, like literally one week. Met my roommate, and I'm sleeping in the dorm. And basically at that time, felt like 20 people were punching me in my stomach. Like I didn't know what was going on. I was disoriented, vomiting, and I blacked out. Right. And in that period, she called the ambulance. Of course, she ran out. She freaked out my roommate. But long story short, I was bleeding internally. Had no idea. Did not know what was going on.
And
Wake
you
up.
hadn't been hit, had a fight, or anything like that that would cause internal bleeding.
No. So at this time, I'm waking, I come to, because I'm blacking out, I'm coming to, I'm blacking out, I'm coming to. And as I come to, it's like all these paramedics in the room. They're going through the drills. What's your pulse? What's your name? Where are you from? And I'm irritated because I don't know why they were asking all these questions, but I didn't realize they were asking them to keep me awake, so I wouldn't die. And the last thing I heard while they're reading the numbers off, one of the paramedics goes to the other one, she doesn't have a pulse. She doesn't have a pulse. Because he's like, what's the number? He's like, she doesn't have a pulse. And that's when I literally remember blacking out and then transitioning. And so, of course, you can only imagine, like, when that experience is happening. I will say this, you're 100% coherent when you're dying. Even though you can't see your body or feel your body, you're definitely coherent. Your mind is very much alive. And I knew I was dying. And I explained that experience in the book, like what it felt like, the things I saw. And I'm terrified because I'm dying. I can't stop it. And I'm thinking, where am I going? That's the only thing that was on my mind because I had no control of anything at this point. And then within that journey, God spoke to me, like literally. And I was terrified because, again, I can't deny it now, when it's like, what do you say? Sorry, my bad. So that book was interesting because it's a book I actually did not want to write. I didn't want to write the book because if I wrote the book, I would have to explain why I went through all of that trauma. Why did I flatline to begin with? And I wasn't prepared because no one knew. And so
how long ago did you write the book?
After that, it took me some years. That experience happened when I was 18 years old. And I didn't write the book until like late 30s, like a long time. And the only reason I wrote the book was because couple things happened. Because I also wrote the book and then I stepped away from it again. But the reason I wrote it the first time is because it just felt like nothing, like I can only hit a certain point in my life and I can never nudge that ceiling to get to the next level. Financially, relationship wise, it was just, I was always at an impasse. And then it felt like God saying, I brought you back for a reason. I brought you back so you can let people know, mainly sinners, like people who already believe, okay, but it's more so the people who didn't believe, who was on the same course that I was on, young girls, young boys, maybe that's, involved in things they shouldn't be involved in, or just people who are questioning their faith and their religion, to let them know, listen, there's definitely a realm and something else past this one. Once you die, that's not it, right? But again, because of my pride and my family is so churchy and traditional, I just wasn't prepared to share what happened, which I can share now. So basically, I had an abortion before I left for college. I was petrified because I was, on an honor roll my whole life. I was like the golden child of the family. Everyone expected me to win. My sister was like the black sheep of the family. So, basically it was so much pressure I felt on me to like kind of try to be so perfect, even though I still did, I was still hanging out and doing things, but I just never got caught, so to speak. She did. So basically, when that occurred, I didn't know who to turn to but her. And she was like, okay, and we're all teenagers, right? You have to keep that in mind. We're not talking to any adults. So she asked one of her friends, like, hey, where should she go? And I went to this really shady clinic, to just kind of put it out there, that performed the procedure. And it was like just terribly done, abortion. It shouldn't have been performed the way it was. So when I got to Atlanta, when I got down to college, I didn't know I was still pregnant. They didn't.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. So I had an ectopic pregnancy. So they shouldn't have performed the procedure at all. And they did. And so basically, I'm getting to school when I arrived, I'm thinking everything's all good, right? I'm thinking I'm moving past, I'm moving forward with life. I'm going to have this great, exciting adventure at Clark, not knowing that I still had this issue going on. So when I was asleep in my dorm that night, I was bleeding out because the baby ruptured my fallopian tube and I was bleeding out in my dorm. So thank God for my roommate acting as she did, because the doctor said if she hadn't, I would have been dead within an hour. So it was a lot.
Well, that explains the first book. And so by trade, you're an entrepreneur, or do you have a 9 to 5?
I am. I'm an entrepreneur. I
Mhm.
have my business. It's called Success Right Now. It's a
Mhm.
literary agency, boutique literary agency. So
Mhm.
what I do is I assist creatives, I assist writers, authors, also entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
Anyone who either wants to write a book, they need a ghostwriter, if they need edits done to their projects. Let's say
Mhm.
they already have a book or they have other projects that they're working on, because my background is television broadcasting, film production.
Mhm.
So I love writing. I've always loved writing ever since I was a child. So that's what I do. I primarily help individuals with their books, either ghostwriting, writing, or editing, as well as other projects, articles, speech writing, things like that.
Mhm.
Also publishing too. So if someone is like, hey, I want to self-publish my book as well, like how do I do that?
Mhm.
I do cover design, formatting of books, and then also consultation where I walk them through the process to say, hey, did you get your ISBN? Did you do this? Like, these are things and steps you need to take on the front end so you don't waste money on the back end, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars because you missed critical steps. So it's really a one-stop shop, for anyone who wants to self-publish, who have questions about self-publishing, or just who need assistance with their writing projects.
And how would somebody book you to ghostwrite,
Mhm.
and how would somebody book you to find out about the self-publishing? I guess you could call it self-publishing coaching, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Would
Absolutely.
they, is
So
everything contained in one place, or
it
are they
is.
qualified through a one-on-one call?
They are. They are. I do that as well. So let's say they don't even need me to write, but they just want coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do either um, writing, coach writing for writing, or I do the publishing
Okay.
consultations as well. And they can find me through my website well, the link I use is www.tmariebell, that's
Mhm.
TMarieBell.com. So tmariebell.com, and they can go ahead, click, schedule the link. Schedule their consultation through the link. And
Mhm. Okay, so let's getting back to the Ghana book. So we know about your first book,
mhm,
completely unrelated to the second book
mhm,
in terms of topic, but
mhm,
definitely connected because it's another life's journey.
yeah.
You're an entrepreneur and you sell literary services and essentially self-publishing coaching,
Mhm.
right? And so now it's time for your second book, which is coming how far after the first book?
So the first book was published in 2020. So 5 years, 5 years
5
later.
years.
Hmm.
Okay, got it. So 5 years, and you would say that you've learned a lot about self-publishing in the last 5 years that you're prepared to do it again with the Ghana guidebook, or are
Absolutely.
you okay? All right. So let's talk about positioning, right?
Hmm.
So the how did you feel the reception was on the first book that you would like to be different on this one?
Okay, so I felt the anticipation for the first book was there. Everyone was really excited. They wanted a copy, things of that nature. They were really interested in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I published at the height of COVID.
Yep.
So I experienced a lot of challenges. I had
Mhm.
published in the summer of 2020, August 2020.
My
Um,
son was born August 26, 2020.
are you serious?
I am. So I
Wow,
found
that's
out
a tough
about him
time.
I found out about him on January 9th. The world
Wow.
shut down on March 13th. He was born on August 26th. And I feel like life has never been the same again after COVID. It was kind of crazy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So during that time, I published the book. It was pretty well received, especially for a self-publisher. But the issue was I was never actually able to have a book signing. And that was pretty tough because, of course, like I was receiving calls from people back home in Michigan, of course, here in Atlanta, other places like, hey, are you going to have any kind of book signings?
Mhm.
And I wasn't able to, just given the nature of the beast of COVID at that time.
Mhm.
So I felt that was a missed opportunity
Mhm.
um, as far as exposure. This book isn't as long as that book. That book was like almost close to 200 pages. It was like 180 pages. This one's more so like 115 guidebook. So I've been battling with, do I need to have a book signing? Should I have a book signing? I'm not sure. So that's something I've been thinking about. Just also trying to navigate the ways to gather the most eyes on the book. I do believe this one can resonate with so many people because we're in a wave right now.
Yes,
Ghana's the
we
wave
are. Oh
where
yeah.
A lot of people are either looking into moving out of the country or they want to visit Ghana because, Ghana has the welcome back home. They're offering the pathway. So I feel that it's the perfect time. Timing is great for this book. And also, too, for individuals who, let's say they just plan to go to Ghana anyway, just to maybe turn up or just see the sights.
Yeah.
It's introduction saying, hey, there's something that is really pertinent and prevalent for you while you're there that you may want to check out as well. So I feel like timing is great. I just want to maximize the time in the best way.
Got it. Okay, so the timing could not be more perfect, actually, because there is this whole wave of people trying to go find a place that is a little bit less volatile than here.
Absolutely.
And a little bit more friendly to their culture, diaspora, all of those things, right? So I think that for those reasons is perfect. Let's talk about the positioning of it.
Okay.
Would you say you could like when you joined Headline Heroes, what was your original thing that you were like, okay, I need to join this group because these are the things I'm trying to accomplish? I want to hear that out, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the exciting opportunity I think is in front of you.
Okay. So I was really excited when you started your program. I felt that it was something I definitely needed. Just because I'm a writer, I'm a creative. I know how to do that through and through.
Yeah.
Positioning, marketing, and PR, not my lane. And honestly, it's so funny because people who know me, they're like, oh, she's talkative, she's outspoken. But I actually have a shy element to myself. I'm really reserved at the end of the day. It takes a lot for me to really put everything out there, which is why it took me so long to write my first book. To actually not even write it, to really publish it. Release it. Because like I said, I didn't want to tell that story because it's like, oh my God, I'm telling my business. Everyone's gonna know my business. And I had best friends, family members, people were reading the book saying they cried. They were like, why didn't you share this? Why didn't you tell me? Why did you go through this by yourself as a child? As a teenager. But because I'm like, I was just ashamed. I was so ashamed of everything that happened. And then I knew that some people were going to be hurt reading it. Right.
Yeah.
So there was, and also too, what I experienced with that first book, I didn't expect a lot of other people, family, friends, otherwise, to just have these emotions that either were good or bad. Let's talk about the bad. I just didn't expect some people to have, they didn't want to be mentioned. Some people, and I didn't think about that, at the time. It's like, I'm telling my story, it's my truth. And so at any rate, this book, I'm not going to experience that, but it's like, as far as positioning, it's more so, okay, how do I put this out in the public? What channel, what avenue? I know I want to do podcasts because they're super, I'm not going to say easy, but I feel like they're quicker to get onto as opposed to major networks, right? I'm just trying to figure out the best way, but because PR is not my lane, marketing is not my lane, I was excited about Comcast Heroes, Comms Heroes, because
it's Headline Heroes.
Yeah, because I knew you are the guru. This is what you do, so, and then too, I knew it was going to be a community of other like-minded individuals, business entrepreneurs, creatives, where we could share, our experiences as well. I'm giving one another feedback. So I was just really, really looking forward to it, and so excited when you said, hey, let's jump on a call. Let's see how we can move the book forward. Because I really value your opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So glad to have you in the community. So the reason why I wanted to do this call is because as entrepreneurs, we all work so closely on whatever it is that we're giving birth to, because entrepreneurs give birth to these businesses, right? It's not just like a 9 to 5. It's not a job you walk away from. You don't stop thinking about it when you lay down. It is an everyday, all day thing. As a person who has raised a 5-year-old, it's the same a level of attention to detail, and every decision you make can either hurt the business or help the business. If you want it to grow a certain way, whatever the release is, the film, the book, the
Mhm.
project, the restaurant, whatever it is, the project, it needs 24/7 care. So most entrepreneurs are in the weeds trying
Mhm.
to make it the best that they can, that they never stop to think about the level of invisibility that they have because they are just working at it. And then they think that if they post or if they run some ads, that's going to be enough, right? So the world is a little bit different now. Even social media is different. I mean, I think that we all saw that viral video where Gary Vee last summer said it shouldn't be called social media anymore. It should be called interest media. And he
Yeah.
said that because the algorithms completely changed on all platforms where it no longer rewards the person who has the most amount of followers. It
Mhm.
rewards the person who can be the leader on a topic of interest,
Mhm.
right? And so we're turning into very small tribal communities wrapped around these certain special interests,
Mhm.
whatever it is. And so that is a gift and a curse somewhat. It's a gift because nobody has to kill themselves to try to get a whole lot of followers anymore
Right.
because it's not going to matter. It's
Mhm.
a curse because it requires even more of you
Yep.
on camera and on social media and pouring your heart out in the way that you do and giving your expertise and literally giving value to a community
Yep.
that where you don't know initially you don't have a direct person to speak to. You're putting value out there and the community will grow behind that. So that is why Headline Heroes is so essential, because those types of reminders and strategy and fellowship needs to happen amongst a group of like-minded entrepreneurs. I personally feel like entrepreneurs are some of the most unserved people in this world, right? If you're in corporate America, there's all kinds of affinity groups and everything that
Yep.
is there to support you. When you're an entrepreneur, you're on the grind. You are climbing that mountain with your bare hands, bleeding and getting up the mountain the best you can. And every time you see a little bit of sunlight at the top, that's enough to keep you going to the next time,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so you have this baby, you know it's amazing, you want to give birth to it, but just putting it out there is not really the first step, right? The first
Mhm.
step is of course, in the production phase, coming up with something that you love and you know is going to provide value to someone somewhere,
Mhm.
right? And then the second part is having to establish your authority to be the person to put out a book, a guidebook about Ghana, right?
Yes.
Especially given that you're not born in Ghana, right?
Mhm.
And you're not from there. So what makes you the authority to release it? And that's where what the community will help you to do, because that transformative experience that you had, that's the value that people need to hear and know, to say, well, she's not from Ghana, but the reason why I need this guidebook is because I'm not from Ghana either, but I'm planning a trip there in October. And I want to make sure I'm prepared to maximize the experience, right?
Mhm.
And so that is where the guidebook comes in. So
Okay.
making sure that we work on positioning you as an authority is the first thing. And that can be done by telling your story. Like
Mhm.
transformative experiences are rare, as they should be, right?
Mhm.
Because who gets a transformation every single day? That would be weird. But when they happen, it's such a before and after moment. Like
It is.
90% of people on social media are seeking a transformative experience somewhere, in some way, in some part of their life. And
True.
some people want a transformation on several levels: personally, in their relationship, professionally, in their business, wherever it is, they want transformation, right? So sometimes I feel like the word transformation is used and abused on social media because everybody's using it in all of their ads, that they're going to transform
Yeah.
you into this dream person overnight. And everything is about people no longer have the attention span for a 5-day masterclass anymore, or a
Yeah.
challenge. They want the results in an hour. I don't know what kind of transformation you could get that quickly, but that's the trend, right?
It
And
is.
so let's talk about that transformative experience. And
Mhm.
then not only that, use the tools that make life worth living right now, like
Mhm.
AI and Chat GPT. Is such an exciting time to be alive,
Yes.
that it is just to be alive in a time where we can speak to our own robot agents and they can help us with our creative output, is the most amazing thing ever. I just feel like what a time to be alive. And so they can be your partner in helping to build that authority, right? So
Mhm.
it should become a whole folder in your projects in your chat GPT about building authority. We should be having asking chat GPT, I need to be strategic about how I build authority around this one topic.
That's great.
I need your help. And I don't know about you, but I name my agents. I have 9 of them, and each one has a certain gig. One is a long form writer, like a book author. One is a sales copy, sales page copywriter. One is a website copywriter. One just writes captions for YouTube. These are
Oh,
that's it.
wow.
Mhm.
And you know what's interesting? For the longest, I was
I want
so
to get an hour.
anti AI just
Mhm.
because I'm a writer. I was so against it. I didn't want to even look at it. Um, it was just it was a very, very interesting, like kind of dynamic.
Can
I did not want anything to do with it.
I tell you how common that is?
But then I had a friend, he works in cybersecurity, IT, and he said, you don't have a choice. Either you're going to learn or you're going to
Fall behind.
fall behind. And so slowly, I kind of just delved into Chat GPT. And so it's really awesome to hear you say that you have like all these different chat agents,
9.
because I'm just now learning, and I
I
can
have
admit
fun
that,
with
to
the
navigate it.
faces. I have fun with the names. I turn to them like, oh no, I don't want you today. I need this person because building yourself an executive virtual assistant is going to be our first job. We have a whole session in Headline Heroes where we're just working on building our own executive
Wow.
assistant.
Okay.
So that'll be coming next
Go
month.
virtual. Okay.
But so let's talk about your resistance to AI, right?
Mhm.
So this is the first thing I usually tell people. They have usually 2 reasons why they would be resistant to AI. As a coach, I see this all the time. The first one is people who still believe that they have some level of privacy. That to me is I'm telling you the truth. Uh,
Mhm.
we did a master class like 2 weeks ago with 120 entrepreneurs from Bahamas, and I told them the same thing. Like, here's the thing: if you have a cell phone,
Mhm.
you don't have to worry about privacy. You gave it up a long time ago. The only people who have privacy are the people who do not have cell phones, because a cell phone can tell you how many steps you took, what
That's
your
true.
heartbeat is, what your sleep hours are, what location you are at every given moment. The government can tell
Mhm.
you everything about yourself because it's all recorded on that device. You
True.
carry it with you. It sleeps next to you. And you can't move without it. You order your groceries, every move you make, every dollar you spend is on that phone. You
Mhm.
gave up privacy years ago, decades ago. So don't worry about it now, because AI is not going to have anything to do with that. You don't have the privacy that you thought you had. That's true.
True. That's so
that's
true.
that's the truth. You don't have the privacy you thought you had. And if you're on social media, most people on social media don't give 2 shits about privacy anyway. But for real, some folks who are entrepreneurs who are in their
Mhm.
own kind of cove, they really believe that they have privacy some kind of way. You gave that up when you got that cell phone and you made it the center of your life. You just I mean, the people are counting the amount of baby kicks. I know I did when they were pregnant. Count your baby kicks and you log
What?
it in to make sure. Yeah, because if you're a high anxiety mom who's carrying a baby and they go still for too long, your doctor's like, count the kicks. Just take any random amount of time and you count the
Mhm.
kicks. And I was doing that because I was high anxiety during COVID.
Can imagine.
So
Mhm.
every little thing you do is on the phone. So don't worry about that privacy thing. And hi, Shanae, how are you? And so the other part is the second part about AI is people thinking that um it's like that movie I Robot where it's
Mhm.
dangerous, they're
Yep.
going to be infiltrating your home and they're going to take over your stuff. And so here's the thing. If anybody here has Siri on their phone,
Yeah.
has Alexa in their house, has Google, Nest or any of those other things, you've already been working with AI for damn near 10 years and you don't even know it. This is just on your laptop and you can go to it intentionally every day rather than talk to Alexa all day. So that is just like, there's whatever fears we have around it. We've already been doing it for so long, we just didn't
Mhm.
know we were doing it. But why not help it, use it to help us to cut down the amount of hours it takes us to do daily tasks as an entrepreneur? Make it work for you because
Yeah.
you've already been using it. It's already in your home. It's already controlling your life and you didn't even know that. And that's okay with me. It's kind of like the cost of innovation, right? Privacy.
Sure.
Like we haven't had privacy in God knows how long. So moving on past that, the ways you maximize what you need is, honestly, it seems so oversimplified, but just ask.
Mhm.
Ask and you shall receive. That's the thing, right? You have to prep it to give you back everything that you need by taking your best work and your best ideas and your best bio and your best photo and all the things. If there's something that you have, a deck that you love and you're like, oh my God, I want my stuff to look like this, or some piece of writing that you're really proud of, or some piece of writing that you're like, one day I'm going to write as good as this writer right here. Whatever that is, fill the brain with that, right? Every
Mhm.
time you make your GPT agents, you get like 20 things you can upload. Upload the 20 things that you want it to know about you and
Mhm.
what you want, what your goals are, what your dreams are, right? Because you're training it how to think and how to give you the best information for you, right?
Okay.
So if you don't do that, you ask it a question, you're going to get the same response as everyone else who's using it, and you don't
Mhm.
want that because that's not going to help you. And in some ways it can be embarrassing. Like we all heard about the college students where everybody in the class failed because they all
Mhm.
submitted the same paper. That's what it's going to do for you if you do not train it about.
Hmm.
It wants to know who you are so it can keep learning about you and keep getting better and talk to it every day. And you don't even have to talk to it where it can talk back to you. Now, that's what I prefer, but you can just dictate, right? So it can hear your tone of voice and inflection and, what the way that you say certain words. Or like when I speak at the end of it, I might say, no, ma'am, so and so. Now, when I speak to Chat GPT, it'll be like, no, ma'am. it'll spit right back out to you. So just make sure that as we're strategizing over how to position you as an authority on a person who can speak on the Ghana travel experience, that you are giving it, post photos. I mean, upload photos from your trip.
Okay.
Um, Tell it, and I mean in great detail, speak to it, tell it about your transformative experience, right? I mean, give so much detail. Like it'll be like, I opened my eyes at 2 a.m. and the breeze just felt different on my skin, and like all of that. Tell
Mhm.
it, save that as a docx file, upload it, and it will keep learning from that and telling you more. And so that's my first piece of advice, is to use Chat GPT to position yourself as an authority on Ghana. when
Okay.
you when you figure out what the right word bank is and the right um positioning tools you need to create, like, is it social media? It probably is, because
Mhm.
that's the easiest, freest way to talk to people who are interested in that. Then you have to consistently provide value about that, about Ghana and the experiences, and new knowledge and new value and new experiences that people don't see everywhere. Or just become super obsessed with any post that have the word Ghana in it on social media. Make sure you're reposting, make sure you're engaging with that community on social media, because you have to make sure people know, hey, she's tapped into this topic right here. Remember,
Mhm.
it's interest media, not social media. This is a topic of discussion for you. Every time somebody talks about Ghana, you need to be tagged in.
Okay.
You need to be getting an alert. Your feed needs to become all about Ghana, right? So you know all of the key voices and you know all of the products that are out there for people who are traveling. It's okay to connect with tourism outlets and all of that, but first we have to tap into the conversation that's happening and make sure your voice becomes a leading voice of value for your community. And that's the second part.
Okay.
My favorite C word is building community, right? Because the truth is that whenever you go to any master class, AI summit, whatever, say Facebook ads accelerator, any of the millions of endless coaches and master classes and challenges that are out there, the average person on these in these classes is 50 plus
Yeah.
and damn near 60 plus. You know why? Because the world has changed, and Gen Xers and even some young boomers have decided that they are not done yet, and they're not going to roll over and just die and hand the world to the youngins. You know who's not on there? Nobody below the age of 30,
That's
and
true.
maybe a few below the age of 40, because they already feel like they grew up in it. It's a little bit more natural to hand everything over to social or to digital. But people who have had a business established for a while and they remember the world in a different type of way, a pre 2019 way,
Mm-hmm.
they're learning new ways to create and build and attract their people. Finding your people and finding your community is your fast track to your retirement plan.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be, mhm, yes, that's going to be the only thing that you can rely on, no matter how much the world changes, is your people that
Mm-hmm.
come to you for one specific thing. So the first thing is building authority.
Okay.
And in building authority, the next step is building community, right? Around what it is that you are an expert on, because that community can transition into a basic Facebook community, or they can be a community that you put on School or Kajabi or Mighty Networks or any other place where you want your community to go, right? And for you, I don't think it's just a community of people that are interested in Ghana. For you, I feel like it is a community of aspiring authors
Okay.
as well. But for right now, you can attract them with your Ghana guidebook, and then give more content and more value and more detail about this self-publishing work that you do, the coaching there, and share some testimonials, some wins from people who have learned from you. And I feel like that's a much bigger community of people eventually. But we'll start with the Ghana guidebook because that's what we're trying to sell right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the first step, again, building authority, because you need a reason for them to come to you. Building authority is all about presenting value so that eventually they come to you for the value and you don't have to keep calling them.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is building community, because that's your retirement plan. And that will be like a group of people who know you are the expert on one particular topic, and they seek you out when when they think about that topic of interest. And then when you have a community, there's just endless things that you can do with the community, as long as you keep presenting value.
Okay. That makes sense.
Then I think that the next thing, so I have a framework. It's called the visibility velocity framework, right? And we always start with leverage. Leverage, that's when we get into the framework after we've built the authority and we track the community. Then you leverage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So leverage is where you take that. To me, leverage has all kinds of different definitions in the world. There's actually one in particular that I always go to, so forgive me for just sharing that for a second, because I feel like it's critical to this conversation. I'm going to go there and give it to you real quick. Okay, so leverage. Textbook definition would be something more like leverage is something that you use to get what you want, right? For
Mm-hmm.
me, I feel like it is the unique magnet that draws people to you or your business, because of the value that you present, right? They can't get it anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Leverage is what you already have that other people need, and that's why they come to you, right? That's your leverage. And it is broken down in the simplest of terms. Like, this is what I have that other people need, and this is why they come to me for it, right? So when you figure out your leverage, now a person who wants the Ghana guidebook probably has some trip, travel, or
Mhm.
business that they have planned in the country of Ghana, right? And so that's why they're coming to you, because your guidebook would help them to navigate business communities,
Mhm.
real estate communities, experiences, nightlife, food, whatever it is, right? Because the truth is that life is a series of experiences. When you actually l- take what the secret sauce is about that book, and you use it as leverage, then you're taking certain pieces of the book that you know are unique, that people cannot get anywhere else, and
Mhm.
you're putting that out there to an audience of people who are interested in it. Now that's different from a authority building post. It's more like a, if you have I have 48 hours in Ghana, what am I doing?
Okay.
Type of thing, like experiences, excitement, minute to minute, like, who am I talking to? What's the best restaurant to go to? If I'm about to have my last meal on earth, where am I eating in Ghana? You know what I'm saying? I need the best, flyest gear, whatever. I'm so Gen X with my language. But where am I going in Ghana? Like, there
Mhm.
was this rooftop that I saw on Instagram from this rooftop party. Like, where was that view? How do I get
Mhm.
to that rooftop party? Like, that kind of thing. I saw that there was penthouse apartments for $1,000 a month. Who can I talk to
Mhm.
about those? Because I see a lot of that on my social media. It's
Yeah.
all these big penthouse apartments for $600 a month, $1,000 a month.
Mhm.
You know, that's how you leverage what you already know, your relationships, and just a promise of, if they keep coming back to you, learning more about experiences.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And you can feel free to ask any questions that you want, because I'm just gonna keep, kind of going through the
okay.
visibility velocity framework.
So do you think, like, for right now, because I haven't posted on my social, like, um, I haven't started posting these kind of, like you said, info type reels. When should I start that? Should I start now?
I would.
Week? Like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. And so maybe that's where the chat GPT would be helpful too, to try to figure out like when to unveil, how to unveil these reels, and
Mhm.
what topics and pinpoints to really focus on.
It
Okay.
will be helpful for sure.
Okay.
But let's start with, you need a content bank,
Okay.
right? If you want to hire a partner, I can make suggestions on great folks that you can work with for creative. But if
Okay.
you want to do it yourself, I always suggest go to Etsy, and go look for, you can look for Instagram templates, social media templates, but the monthly recurring revenue type templates that they make,
Hmm.
where it's like, you get 40 to 60 different templates, and all you have to do is change into your color scheme, your copy, your photo. And then, because you need to start with something that doesn't feel impossible to get done, right? And
Hmm.
just break it off one piece at a time, making um 5 reels a week, something like that, something that is going to make an impact, because one or two a week at this point, with the insatiable hunger that social media audiences have, it ain't gonna cut it. It
Okay.
has to be constant. So I would say, the so start there, so you're able to put together a content bank, figure out if you need a partner to help you with that, and definitely post that in the group. And in the group, I will definitely drop the resources, the recommendations I have for who can help you with that. um,
Okay.
and then get started on working on just teasing, the info that you have about experiences and that kind of thing. Would you say that you're super comfortable posting? Do you post a lot? Do you post a little? Are you one of those people who's like living on social media? I mean, I think people who have broken the barrier and can do it, they, God bless them, they're great.
Yeah, so I mainly do stories when I do post.
Mhm.
And even then it's not like super consistent. It's like if I'm somewhere and I'm like, oh, this is great, or I love this aesthetic, I'll show it within the story, but I don't actively post on my main page, and I need to get better with that.
Mhm.
And I'm still also like, I understand Instagram, but like you said, the algorithm's always changing. So
Mhm.
once I got into the groove, like last year, I was actually posting quite a bit last year, but then it's like at some point they switched the algorithm, and you could
Yep.
tell. And then that became very infuriating and
Yeah.
frustrating, because now I don't know what the algorithm is picking up or what it's doing, or
Mhm.
why a lot of people aren't being shown content anymore.
Right.
That became very discouraging, where I took a step back as well. So I need to definitely post more, and definitely my main page more. So yeah, I've lagged behind.
No
Yeah.
problem. That would be pretty common, especially amongst entrepreneurs who have just a lot of stuff on their plate. So
Hmm.
I would say that the more you build that content bank, and you can use services like Later or Notion
Okay.
to, once you create the post, just start plugging them in, so that you can keep going. But those things are going to be tools that help you to just plan your content out. At least if you stay 2 weeks ahead, you can, it won't be like a panic every time it's time to post, right?
Hmm.
You definitely need to have some stuff that lives in your feed,
Okay.
because when people come there randomly, they need to see why you're the authority on this particular thing. So it should be all about Ghana and self-publishing,
Okay.
fun facts, making things fun, sound fun that aren't necessarily fun about the publishing world, raising up challenges, pro tips, that kind of thing. Also, making sure that you say, you point out things you don't want to do. Because I have a free pocket guide that's on the site, and it's like, 8 of the most expensive mistakes that entrepreneurs make that prevent them from getting covered in the media, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes people just need to know what not to do, and that also provides an immense amount of value. So I would say would go with that. Now our next thing is, because we have about 20 more minutes left, is velocity. You have your leverage, and then you have your velocity. Velocity is the speed at which you're creating the systems that will help you to grow and get this thing out. So that means systems that you grow around building authority, systems that you build around growing community, systems that you build around using your leverage, right? Well,
Hmm.
those are all things that we're going to go over in Headline Heroes as well inside the group, is creating systems, because it's never been easier to create systems than with the help of ChatGPT. But you have to know what to ask and when, and you have to use your scheduled tasks,
Okay.
because it's a system, right? If the
Hmm.
system requires something new from you every single time, it ain't no system. It
Hmm.
has to be a system, right? So we need it to work and work on our behalf, even when we skip a day, or something comes up at your kid's school, or wherever, whatever the new thing is, the system keeps going without you, right? And that's what you definitely need to be happening in order to gain speed on the social posting, on creating and presenting value, and just momentum around the guidebook and the visibility. Do you have your artwork done for the cover and all of that?
I do. The cover's done. Um, the book is edited. Like I did all of that, so it's like good to go. The book itself is ready to go.
Hmm.
Now is more so, okay, how do I engage with viewers, readers? How do I secure podcast interviews or get in print? As far as different kind of magazines, like what I'm not really sure what to do from
Hmm.
this standpoint, or who to approach, or how to approach them, or from PR perspectives and things like that.
Hmm. And so that takes us to our next one, which is, I call it recovery, right? Because as we're going through, when you're on a mission to do anything, you need two things. You need rest and you need radical forgiveness. So let's talk about the approach to PR. There is, I created a PR guidebook just especially for entrepreneurs like yourself, where it walks you through the entire process of what you have to do first, next, third, those kinds of things. But the first thing you need to do is identify exactly who. First, no, the first thing we need to do is identify any obstacles that could possibly be preventing us from believing with all of our heart that we deserve to be covered as an expert on this thing. That sounds really overly simplified, and people keep saying mindset, mindset, mindset. I specifically didn't use the word mindset just now because the truth is that it is about belief. You can either choose to believe that you're worthy, or choose to believe doubts, right? It's two sides of the same coin. Belief is either positive or negative, is either going to help you or hurt you. It's your choice, right? What you believe. The thing about it is that if you don't believe you're worthy, you will not get covered because it comes across in everything that you say and do about it as you're talking to the media. If you start with a lot of buts and you already excuse people out of it before you've even asked for the coverage, you will not get it. You have to believe that I deserve this because I am the authority on this topic. So that's the first dragon to slay. Then it is making sure that you're identifying who the right people are that you need to target, right? Making sure that you know who's writing about the topic of Ghana, right?
Right.
That's where travel publications come in. That's where lifestyle and culture publications come in. And also that's where a lot of these interest-driven podcasts and blogs come in. Places where they're targeting folks who are just interested in this one thing. And also your influencers, like Avita Robinson. I know you know who that is. You know who Avita is, and she's always talking about from Nomadness. That was her company a million years ago, but she talks about traveling the world, travel experiences. That is her whole thing. But there's Black travel groups, there's all kinds of stuff, millennial travel groups and mom travel groups, and all of those things. They all can fall into your target media group because they're all talking about a special interest.
Yes.
And that is a special interest that you want to own, and you want to make sure that they know that you're a trusted voice in this particular topic. They need to be talking about it. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but Essence has a new shops e-blast that's going out featuring new products by Black women.
No.
I'm sure there may be a cost for it, right? But you definitely want to make sure that you're considered in one of the roundups. I get the emails every day, and every day they have new products and books and things like that from Black women creators and makers. But that could be something that's worth looking into for sure. And then definitely mom groups, because they're and girls trip. There's girls trips happening everywhere all the time at some point for every birthday, divorce party, bridal party, and everything else that's happening. So you want to make sure that that is also being spoken. Once you create the short list, identifying who are the gatekeepers to the kind of coverage that you need, and then going to them. And sometimes it doesn't look like a traditional publication. Sometimes it looks like just a lifestyle thing. Like it could be an article about moms who need a break, or moms who are planning a girls trip, or getting back to you. And it might not be necessarily focused on travel to Africa, but it's focused on people who are in the mindset that I need to be planning a getaway.
Yeah.
Or I need new experiences. Tired of traveling to the same old places for a vacation, those kinds of things. Or are you open to, building a new life someplace else, a new landscape, a new backdrop, renewal, and all of those kinds of topics? They are all over. And so you definitely want to make sure that you try to tap into some of those special interest blogs that aren't obvious, because they are They might seem a little boring, they might seem a little mainstream, but they have women who are ready to spend some money, or dads who want to show their kids a different type of vacation. They're tired of going to Disney World or cruises or all of those things. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, do you have any questions about that?
Yes, I wanted to know the actual, like, the title of your book, so I can get your book as well.
My book is the PR Playbook for Remarkable Entrepreneurs. And actually, you can look at the link in my Instagram bio, and it's right there. You just can click the link. Right now, it's on a 50% off sale because it was the start of the year, the whole renewal thing. I was like, I need people to, have easy access to this as they start a new year. And it's and I personally, for my book, I've always been a person who I like guidebooks where I get to take notes and that kind of thing, but I like doodles. Like just taking your pen and drawing an arrow or whatever, like silly stuff like that. I have a box of crayon pencils on my desk, and I've had that for 20 years. I'll just grab a pen while I'm thinking and just start sketching. So it is a book with a bunch of sketches that are where the business world meets like football strategy. So you'll see a lot of stuff like end zone, red zone, the kickoff is that kind of thing.
And how would you suggest, as far as like contacting individuals to appear either within publications or podcasts or things like that, beyond the traditional, oh, let me DM this person? Because oftentimes the way Instagram and all these socials have DMs and things set too is if they don't personally either follow you or know you, oftentimes your inquiries will even fall into like a space, like an email kind of DM filter where they don't even see, your request. So
I can't believe I'm saying this out loud because for so many years, me and Saptosa, our advice to everyone was don't pitch in the DMs. But we're at a point where, like language is different. Remember how hard our teachers and bosses were on us about typos, and now everything is an acronym. This is where we're at right now. So what I'm thinking is that, and I will go deeper into this topic inside the group in the masterclass. We have a Position for Profit masterclass that's all about the art of pitching your business, and we dig deep into how to position yourself. Right. So first, you have to do what I call extracting the remarkable. And when you extract the remarkable factor about your business is essentially figuring out how to boil down a pitch that would fit in a DM, right? Because there used to be a time where you had a whole long press release with a boilerplate, backstory, research, facts, figures, all of that. Like it used to be where you would have time and space to actually pitch somebody on something. And so you cannot do that any longer because people don't have the attention span for it. Everything has to be in what I call 3 sentences or less, or a 30-second pitch. The problem with entrepreneurs is you eat, sleep, breathe, and live your business, right? So because you eat, sleep, breathe, and live your business, it is a 24/7. It's your baby, right? So somebody asks you one question, and what can you do? You can go on and on and on and don't even realize that the other person's eyes done glazed over. They checked out 5 minutes ago. You're still talking. You're like, hey, this person is looking over my head because they didn't even listen after the third sentence. And that's real talk. After the third sentence, if you didn't get them by the second sentence, by the third, they're looking over your head. By the fourth, they're gone. They're checking their phone. They're someplace else. And so what I would say is that we have to extract the remarkable things about your business. And the best way to find out what's remarkable about your business is to ask repeat clients, why do you come back to me? Right? Just be straight up. What is it about me that you keep coming back to my business? Like, I love that, but I want to hear it articulated from a person who actually walks the walk. Right. And so take what they give you. Right. And then figure out a word bank around it, figure out how to boil it down to 2 to 3 sentences, something that sounds good that you're going to enjoy saying, and say it 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 and say it, right? Just keep saying it.
Okay.
And that is going to be the way that you eventually get to your what I call your OMW, your 1 minute wow. Also in the PR playbook is a whole section about your 1 minute wow. When you figure out your 1 minute wow, you live with that statement. It comes off of your tongue so easily. It makes other people want to ask more questions. And on top of that, you will keep working on it. It's not like you come up with it once and that's it, and you never revisit it. It's like you say it, it sounds wonderful, and as time goes by and your business grows and the world changes, which it most definitely will, then
Mm-hmm.
keep editing and editing and editing, and that is what you put in DMs and text messages when you're pitching press. You find out what writer it is, follow them on social media, hit them in the DMs.
Okay. That's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. And to piggybacking to the content bank, is
Mhm.
there anything else that I should build beyond the templates? Are there any other steps that I should focus on within the content bank?
Within the content bank, say that again.
So we covered like the templates, of course, to use for IG and promotions and things like that. Also, too, my other question, still focusing on content bank, but right now I pretty much only use I like IG. I'm not really big on Facebook anymore. I was at one time. TikTok, I haven't really navigated it. And once they switched over American owned now, I don't know how I feel about it because I feel like there's
Mhm.
a lot of censorship going on over there.
Well,
Do
the
you
thing
use
about
both?
that is that there's going to be a lot more changes, and if you don't want to be on a wild ride until they figure out where they settle, pick
Yeah.
something else.
Okay. So,
If you
so
don't
is it
already have
okay? Do you?
skin in the game and you don't already have a big following, now isn't the time to lean into it. That's for sure.
Okay. So would it be advantageous and smart to just strictly stay within Instagram since I do have a following there and that's pretty much where I live?
I for what you do, me personally, I'm
Mhm.
leaning more towards long form content on YouTube because
Okay.
the person who is a YouTube like a YouTube not visitor, a person who lives on YouTube is
Mhm.
seeking new information, right? For
Okay.
Instagram, you can do it. That's where my focus is right now, just because that's where I have 18,000 followers, right? So it's a bigger.
Mhm.
I'm more invested there than my 23 people on YouTube. So
Right.
I'm starting there first. But the thing is like if it's even Stevens on both, like what's your followers on Instagram?
Almost like I think like 1900. It's not like crazy followership, but it's like my little cult following.
That's your people. And
But I
what about
want to.
your YouTube page?
So YouTube, interestingly enough, that you just mentioned that. So I actually literally just created a YouTube page called Travel with T Marie,
Mhm.
and within there, but I still need to develop it. So I was going to put up my a reel that I made strictly for Ghana, which is actually ready to go right now. But because I overthink so many things, I'm like, well, I don't want to post it until I have this, and I don't want to do this until I have that. So that's my next question. So I have this really great intro reel that will be fantastic for the book. But I did not post it yet because I wanted to wait until closer to the book release, which is going to be February 26th of, of course, this year.
Mhm.
So I guess that is my question. Should I drop that reel now? Should I wait? Or
Um,
because right now there's
I
the
would
YouTube page
say
is just built. It's like the banner's there, it's me there, but I don't really have anything up just yet.
so and you don't have any followers on it yet.
Mm-mm.
So I'm still saying YouTube just because um
Okay.
I would and let me see. I'm so torn honestly because between Instagram and YouTube they both have benefits, right?
Mhm.
And for something like a guidebook, like Instagram is great for a product.
Right.
YouTube is great for a community.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to figure out like which one is the right one. Like long-term strategy is always YouTube, always. Short-term trying to sell a guidebook, Instagram. You need the link to buy it right there in your bio.
Okay.
I would say any content you've been sitting on, the video's done,
Hmm.
and you haven't done it yet. After immediately after this call, figure out how to take that one piece of content, turn it into five, and then get those scheduled.
Okay.
Like that is the best thing you could do for yourself. Cut it
Okay.
up, repurpose it, build some tips or whatever, and get those scheduled for
Okay.
this week. You have what, February 26th, you said is the release?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you've got 20 days.
Okay.
Put something up today and then repurpose one piece of content into 5 to 10 different other pieces of content. Repurposing and showing something in a different light is definitely the way to go. And I have to pick up my son at 2:30, so I got
Okay.
7 minutes left,
Oh,
but
for sure.
having the best time in this conversation and can't wait till our
Thank
next one.
you.
All right, so the last two things I wanted to go over with you was um recovery, right?
Hmm.
So as you release your guidebook, some things are going to happen that you do not like, that you look at as losses or people be ignoring you or whatever the thing is, because we're going to make mistakes. Entrepreneurs make 10 times more mistakes than other people because we're just taking bigger chances.
Hmm.
You have to be radically forgiving of every single mistake that you make, because when you are not radically forgiving of your mistakes, what happens is that you tuck them away somewhere unhealthy and then they start to the next time it's time to take that same chance, you go, oh, I didn't like the way that felt. Oh, I'm not good at that. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't do that right the last time. I don't know. Like I don't know if it's like having a 5-year-old who I'm constantly, he does not like to get something wrong, and all day long I'm like, get it wrong as many times as you can, because this life is a numbers game. It's all about the reps. The more times you get it wrong, the closer you are to getting it right. Keep trying. And that is honestly a life lesson for everybody, right? Because I don't like to get shit wrong either.
Either.
But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, it's just like this is a reps game. The If you ever read the book 10,000 hours, that's 10,000 hours of reps, like getting
Hmm.
it, effing it up and all of that until you just get to the point where you just can't F it up anymore. And then you've got your 10,000 hours, right? And especially in this entrepreneurship game, with 10,000 hours of mistakes until we get to the point where it's leveled off and we're like, whoo, like it's no way around it. There's no
Hmm.
shortcut. We're going to make a mistake. We may have a typo in a pitch. There used to be a time where me and Saptosa was like suicidal over a typo. Like, oh my God, I
Me
can't believe
too.
we did that. I can't believe, like, shame, pure shame, like typo.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like, just it would ruin my whole day. And now
Hmm.
I'm just like, oh no, we can't be doing that. Mm-mm. You have to go back and just correct it. And so I think that you have to be radically forgiving,
Okay.
and you do have to remember that rest requires as high a priority in your schedule as
Yeah.
the grind. And I am one of those people who can stay awake all night easily, so I have
Me
to
too.
like make rest a priority because I'm just used to it. So that has to be a part of your strategy. And finally, the authority. That is when we practice leveraging what we have and we put the systems in place that will help us to gain more momentum and speed with our velocity. And then as we're going as fast as we can, when we make a mistake, we actually recover well, because if you don't
Hmm.
recover well, you will not reach the end zone well. Then you gain authority. And when you reach the levels of authority that you actually are after, that's when you've reached authority, because people are coming to you instead of you going to pitch them, because podcast seats are opening up for you, because anytime the topic of Ghana or self-publishing comes up, they seek you out for that panel.
Right.
That's when you've built the authority. So that's the visibility velocity framework, and we'll go over that in
Okay.
a future masterclass inside the group. But Chat GPT is your business partner.
Okay.
Okay?
I will
And
dive into that
every
more for
single
sure.
day, yeah, oh yeah, you lost your privacy. That's out the window. And if there is a day where Chat GPT or any of these other monsters, I mean, agents are going to rise up and be monsters, I'm not going to be sitting at home waiting for it. That's for sure. We'll be out traveling, making money and doing something else, and then let them figure it out. But yes, like that. What are you going to do? Sit at home and be like, oh no, I'm not doing that AI thing because that thing is it's
No.
some kind of monster or I robot. So what are you going to do? The plan is to stay at home, stay away from everything, and be on Gilligan's Island while they're out there, like, taking over the world? No, we're not going to do that.
Not at
So,
all.
you know what I mean?
Mm,
So this is a wrap on our first session. Please tell
I
me
love
any
this.
questions. I have 2 more
Okay.
minutes.
Well, I just want to thank you again for putting together Headline Heroes. Like when I tell you, I've learned so much from your videos and how active you are within the community. It's meant so much. And I think for now, like I'm really excited to get started. My biggest roadblock was like just navigating the socials because sometimes I feel so archaic, like I'm just too old to like move through. It's a lot and it's always changing. But you've given me some really good nuggets to pull from, and primarily the YouTube. Because my
Yep.
biggest roadblock there was, like I said, I'm sitting on so many videos and reels. Like I have so much information from the trip. And so I was trying to figure out how to compartmentalize it. But what I'm going to do is just, like you said, use that one reel, build from it. And I think
How long is that reel?
that reel is like 1 minute. It's a 1 minute
You
reel.
should be able to make at least 5 to 10 different things out of that.
You think so?
Yep. You want some 10-second things. You want some make stories out of some of it, like make some carousel posts out of some of it, draw some tips and just have it in the background. Like just you can make 5 to 10 pieces out of that.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yes.
I will work on that. And I definitely look forward to our next mastermind,
Yep.
figuring all of this out. And thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Shante.
Thank
This was
you so much.
fantastic. Like I really needed all of this information and it's been immensely helpful.
I'm so excited. I can't wait till our next one. Let's put one on the calendar for next week.
Okay.
I'm traveling, but definitely let's try to put something on the calendar because I love this. This was great. And
Perfect.
then the next one, we can dig more into the actual pitch.
Absolutely. And you know what? It'll hold me accountable where I definitely know I need to have these things posted because I know you're going to ask about it.
That's right. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye. Have a great
All
one.
right. Bye.
Bye.